with things in a minute and to get things going. I'd like to welcome everyone to our teaching summit or teaching symposium, whichever sort of label that you want to put on it. We're hoping to have a couple of these over the course of the year that the teaching committee is sort of working on doing. Some of the topics for this one sort of came out of the retreat that wasn't a retreat, that was, unfortunately I wasn't able to be at, where it was talking about the different styles and techniques of teaching and the things that are going to be there. What we're sort of hoping to do today is, over the next couple of hours, we're going to sort of do a brief introduction into sort of the different aspects of both blended, flipped, and hybrid class aspects, and what differentiates them, what are the ways that they can add value to your programs or to your courses, and most importantly, why you might want to look at choosing to do one. One of the big things that we're going to see, and we're going to have some time for discussion at the end, sort of share anybody's experiences or to have a chat about the different options that exist, is you should never, ever choose one of these styles just for the sake of doing it. It's not a case of, yeah, well, here, this is a pretty cool term. Everybody's saying flipped classroom, let's flip it. You know, you need to do it because there are pedagogical reasons for it. There's value that's going to be added from it, and it's really got to be something. If you're just adding things or making life more complicated for the students, then it's not a sort of pathway you can go down. So what we're going to be doing over the couple hours is breaking things down into sort of three key points. I'm going to be leading things off, sort of laying some of the groundwork and foundation about the tools and techniques and what types of things you can do to incorporate some of these tools on your own. Sort of if you have the sort of bent and have the sort of wherewithal that you want to play with this, there's ways that you can do it from very low investment to a higher investment to see where you can sort of go and take things from that perspective. About 1 o'clock or shortly before 1, we've got Pam Phillips and Jane Costello coming in from DELTS that are going to then provide a brief sort of orientation information into what are the tools and resources that DELTS has available, so that if you're not one of those people that sort of completely sort of focused on the tech side like I am, you know, that there are ways that you can sort of incorporate some of the more advanced tools, but using some of the resources that are available through DELTS that they have available. And then the final sort of, you know, discussion, fireside chat presentation that we're going to have is going to be Dr. Vernon Kern, who's joined us from the Faculty of Medicine today, who we've done a lot of different aspects together, but also most recently done some filming for some of his distance courses where he does video interviews, and he'll be able to share some of his experiences about why he's chosen to sort of go down utilizing those things and sort of what support has been available within the Faculty of Business. And then what we want to do is to have some time to sort of wrap up, to open the floor out for everyone to sort of be able to share their stories, successes or failures or lessons learned that they had with trying to sort of incorporate any of these sort of modified teaching elements or things that have sort of come into play as we deploy. And so before we sort of get started, I guess the most important thing is to formally thank the Dean and the Wilf and Wanda for helping to provide sustenance and food. Wilf's like going, okay, I can't hide anymore. My name's being mentioned. People are going to be looking at me. Sorry. You can get back to work in a minute, Wilf. But it's really appreciative to sort of provide the support so that we have the room and the refreshments available to sort of go through. The other thing that is going to be happening is I know there were some people that had initially expressed that they had wanted to be here, but then are not able to be here, or if you have something that comes up and you have to leave, don't want you to, but if you have to leave for whatever reason, this session is being recorded and will be available online. One of the things that I have a surprise sort of for you that will be sort of going is I've launched, or am launching this evening and tomorrow, a dedicated sort of faculty YouTube channel on teaching resources and video resources on how to do things, and I'm beginning to populate it with a lot of the video clips explaining how to set up certain things or how to do a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about today. And we'll give you a reminder at the end, but one of the things I would really like is for any of you that have anything that could be a technique or a tool or anything that you use in your class that may either facilitate teaching, that could be lessons that each of us can learn from, or resources or videos that can explain to students how to do certain things or how to access certain things. We will have a sort of central repository there that everyone will have access to and to be able to utilize in your student communication as well as in our own collaboration. So we'll fill you in a little bit more on that as we sort of progress along. So, one of the things that has really sort of been talked about quite extensively in the last few years has been the alternative classrooms. And flipped classrooms are not a term that is new. In fact, I've got a handout here that came out from the Chronicle of Higher Education in January, which is a summary of a lot of great articles and great discussions on what are the pros and cons and issues and challenges of flipping your classroom. And in fact, in accounting, the final article that sort of prompted it is Norm, can't remember his last name, but he had basically about 15 years ago, he initiated a flipped classroom with his accounting courses, and he did, got a bunch of money from the university to do all sorts of filming and filmed all his lectures and have everything all online. And so for 15 years, what they've been doing in the accounting is all of the students have to watch his lectures, and then they go to essentially labs where other professors are coordinating the labs. They're still doing that today. Norm retired 4 years ago. But he's still physically, his content is still physically doing the teaching, and now they've got somebody new that's coming sort of into play. So it's a really great example that sort of says, well, how do you move forward when, if you've got one person that's really been driving this content, how do you sort of do that, and how would you feel as a professor if you're being asked not to necessarily teach the theory, but the students are being taught the theory through one delivery, and you're sort of facilitating the workshops. And they chose to do it because they had very large classes, very large section numbers, and so everyone was at least getting one standardized presentation of the core content, in a way it was presented. And so there's a lot of great